Hello and welcome to New England Cuisine, the program that celebrates the food and flavors of New England. I'm Chef Chris Prosperi from Metro Beast Restaurant in Simsbury, Connecticut. When it's holiday time or you're celebrating a family event, you want something simple but elegant. So tonight we're going to show you how to make a wonderful brandy dinner. And who better to do the honors than Lou and Margaret Chady from the award-winning Westford Hill Distillers in Ashford, Connecticut. Lou and Margaret are going to show us their wonderful brandies, make us some cocktails, and then I'm going to make Margaret's pork loin with apples and apple brandy. And then Margaret's going to finish up our menu with a delicious savory orchard pizza made with pear William brandy. Can you tell I'm excited? All right, so Lou, Margaret, let's start off by what exactly is Westford Hills Distillery?
Westford Hill Distillers is a craft distillery, and we were one of the first craft distillers in the U.S. once they rewrote legislation to allow for small craft distillation. Cool. That was in 1997, and we've been at it ever since.
So basically the start of this whole, right, small craft distiller movement.
Yes, absolutely. It's all hands-on, all done with sensory evaluation. There's no machines making your cuts for you.
Yeah, the old way.
No large factories. This is all done by hand, using primarily local ingredients and hand-selected ingredients as well.
Cool.
So.
And you have a special still, right, that you guys brought in. So tell us about that.
We do. When we first started, you couldn't buy an American still. There weren't any manufactured back then.
Amazing.
So we went to Germany, had help from the Jörg Rupp, who actually founded the movement, and we purchased a Holstein still, made by the Holstein family. They've been working on this still design for 5 generations. Very versatile piece of equipment for doing brandies, whiskeys, rums, anything you'd like to do with it. It's just a terrific machine.
Very cool. All right, so let's start off with what you're actually making at Westford Hill.
Well, we do a line of eau de vies, and this is where we started with our Pear William.
Okay. And wait, before we go that far, let's start off with eau de vie.
Okay.
Because a lot of people have a little, you know, kind of what is it, but it's very simple, right?
Eau de vie is a brandy.
Okay.
It's an unaged brandy, translated water of life.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a clear spirit as opposed to the aged spirit, which gets its color from oak aging.
Like a little brown, like caramel color.
Exactly.
Cool.
And this is just 100% fruit. So there's nothing else added to it. There's no neutral grain spirit. There's no infusions, none of that.
So it's just the fruit. Okay, so start us the process. Let's start with the first one there.
So you start with a nice base wine.
Okay.
And that's why we purchase winemaking equipment. So we have winemaking tanks that we ferment everything at 60 degrees to preserve all the fruit characteristics, and make a nice base wine, and then the next step is distillation.
All right, so we basically started off with a bunch of pears.
Bins and bins of Bartlett pears.
Bartlett pears, and those would be local, right?
They
because
are. They
we
come
have
from
pears.
Lyman orchards.
Very cool.
And extremely ripe. So what we do is we have Lyman orchards pick the pears, put them in cold storage when they're still a little firm.
Okay.
And what that does is triggers a mechanism in the pear saying it's just frosted. And we need to start ripening. 2 days before we start processing, he brings them out. And that's when they turn that really deep golden yellow where you can just squish them in your hand.
You can squeeze them almost by hand.
Exactly.
And then if you bite into them, the juice runs down.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So we're chopping this whole pear.
Yeah.
We're not just pressing off the juice like you do with cider.
Sure.
It's the whole fruit that we add wine yeast to ferment it.
And then it actually makes basically pear wine.
Exactly.
Okay, and then what? So we have big vats of pear wine.
So, exactly. So we'll have a 1,500-gallon vat of pear wine, and then we distill it 65 gallons at a time. That's what our still holds. Wow. And it's about an hour cycle time during distillation.
And out of 65 gallons of pear wine, you don't get 65 gallons of pear brandy.
No, not much.
Yeah, what's the ratio like?
It's kind of all over the board depending on what the sugar is going in. We measure our sugars with bricks.
Okay,
That's the measurement of sugar as you'll hear in winemaking.
Yeah.
So the more bricks you have, the more alcohol you're going to yield from that. Generally, we like to use the apple analogy. So if we bring in 300 bushels of apples, that'll fill a 1,500-gallon fermenter that distills down to 150-gallon barrel. Wow. So 1,500 gallons to 50 gallons.
So it's like that when they say the water of life, that's
the
where,
essence.
right? That's where you get that essence, right? Basically distilled down.
The spirit of the spirit.
The spirit of the spirit. All right, so what else do we have? We have, so that's Pear William.
Correct. And we also have a Kirsch, and these are Montmorency cherries we purchased from a co-op for the past 16 years in the Buffalo region of New York.
Oh, very cool.
Bring those in. We do a cold fermentation on that, as well as a whole berry fermentation called carbonic maceration. Those are you who are into wines,
Yeah, sure.
about Nouveau,
Yeah, yeah.
Beaujolais, they use carbonic macerations.
Same method as the winemaking.
Correct. So it's a very
cool.
bright, forward wine that we then distill
My
into
favorite,
the
by the
Kirsch.
way, is the Kirsch. I don't know, I'm part Austrian, but that's why I grew up with those flavors, or it brings back those memories.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so, and then?
And then we also do a framboise. This is raspberry that we purchased from the Willamette Valley in Oregon. And this is probably our most decadent. We were talking about quantities.
Yeah.
It takes 5 pounds of fresh raspberries to make a single ounce of that distillate. So that's what the ratio is.
Yeah, I'm just trying
there.
to think in my head what 5 pounds of fresh raspberries looks like.
Yeah.
Right? It's huge.
And we typically buy 4,000 pounds at a time of raspberries. That is a decadent extravagance.
And the one thing I like about this, and we've used this at wine dinners at my restaurant, if you can imagine like a bar filled with little glasses, and then you start pouring them into the glasses, and then not 5 minutes later, the restaurant, that's all you smell is fresh raspberries.
Oh, I know.
Right? It's amazing. So it's not just the taste, it's the aroma too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, so moving down the line.
And then we also do a fraise made from strawberries.
Yep, okay.
And we use the strawberries they use in ice cream making. The ones that
wow.
are solid red all the way through. They have
Okay.
a very nice flavor profile to them for distillation.
Okay.
In the same method, we do a very cold fermentation on those. Because there's such a high fruit to pulp ratio, seed to pulp, that we have to actually ferment those at 45 degrees. And it helps mitigate that stemmy quality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
The blend of science and art, that's what we call distillation.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, and then?
And then we have our Père Prisonnier. And this is
everybody in the studio was asking earlier, like, how did the pear get in there? And if you could show that, that's just the most amazing, right? So go ahead,
Exactly.
tell us about how that actually happens.
Well, there's a gentleman named Russ Holmberg at Holmberg Orchards in Gales Ferry who actually grows those in the bottle for us. Right after petal fall, pears set in clusters of 5. One of those pears will mature. So right after petal fall, he has to identify the one that will mature, slip it into the bottle, hang the bottle upside down, tie it off, and then tie it solid so it doesn't blow in the wind.
Sure.
And if it's too exposed, he's got to whitewash it come July so it doesn't cook in there. And with any luck, we've got a pear in the bottle coming our way in September. And
I mean, that is so basically, I just want to see this. I've never seen it up close, but I want to see the pear bottle tree. Because it must look amazing with all these like bottles sort of draping off the tree, right?
Yeah, it looks like a bottle tree. You know, it's essentially what it looks like. So.
All right, so is it cocktail time?
Sure.
Right? Can we make a quick cocktail?
We certainly can. What we're going to make here is this is one of our Connecticut cocktails that we call a Rosalind Cottage Martini. And this uses our organic vodka. This is a Rime organic vodka where we use 2 ounces of this.
So how long have you been distilling vodka?
4 years now. And we distill this from organic corn. We source from a farm in Minnesota.
Let me see the bottle so I can show everybody, because this is like a Connecticut vodka.
It
is.
I mean, and I know I see this in package stores and shops all over the state.
Yeah, it's widely available, and people love it because it's distilled from corn and organic corn. So for people who feel that they have a gluten sensitivity.
Sure, yeah. That's always an issue, right? All right, so we have Connecticut vodka. All right, so what? I missed the last step. So what
2
went in that?
ounces of Connecticut vodka, a ½ ounce of our Kirsch, and then this is actually a vermouth that we make for a winery in Newport, Rhode Island.
Really?
Yeah, called Greenvale Vineyards.
Wow, very cool.
We produce a vermouth for them.
Yeah.
Just a dash of that to your level of dry.
Yeah.
And then, for some nice color, some real grenadine.
Oh, very cool. All right, and then we're going to shake, rattle, and roll. My favorite part of the evening. So isn't that cool? So basically, let's go back to our brandy kind of theme for tonight, right? Our brandy themed dinner. So I guess this is how you would greet your guests.
Absolutely.
Right? So you have Connecticut vodka, you have the brandy from the Kirsch, right? Toast.
Oh, oops. Let me garnish you first. A little bit of fresh mint from the garden this morning.
Very nice. Now how about that when people come through the door, right?
I'll let
Beautiful,
you
isn't it?
Yeah.
do the toast with
right?
Chris.
Cheers.
Toast.
And then before we go, what do we have here?
So
This is our
carrying
little
through
appetizer.
the Kirsch theme, the This is a dip that we've made with sour cream and blue cheese, but the dried cherries have been soaked in kirsch.
In the kirsch.
So that when people come and you're entertaining, you want to surprise them with every bite. And people are always surprised when they taste into this and get this wonderful kirsch flavor.
All right, so that's the way to start our brandy dinner.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to come right back. And when we do, I'm going to make your special pork, right, with apples and the apple brandy, right? And then after that, we have a special surprise with a funky pizza. All right, so we'll be right back. Cheers.
The research here at St. Jude is very important. It gave my daughter a second chance at life.
We're developing tomorrow's cures today so that everyone around the world can benefit from those therapies.
La parte de investigación en el hospital es fundamental, porque si no hubiera eso, no habría ese porcentaje tan alto de supervivencia que dan.
Treatments invented at St. Jude have helped push the overall childhood cancer survival rate from 20% to more than 80% since it opened 50 years ago. And we won't stop until no child dies from cancer.
We are not just publishing a paper, but we're making changes to patient care.
Because we have donors that believe in what we're doing, we can really move our research forward much faster.
One life saved at St. Jude means thousands elsewhere.
Because of you. Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Dad, we need to talk. If you're not going to listen to me, who will you listen to?
Jeffrey!
Is that Marcia Gay Harden?
I think so.
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain is changing.
That's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age.
Really?
Whoa! Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, helping solve child hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. All right, so I'm excited now because that got me going with thinking about all the different ways to cook with this brandy. So this is a recipe actually from Margaret, and this is a pork with apple, and apple. So it starts with a pork loin, and you can see what I'm doing right here is I'm actually just flouring it in a little bit of flour, salt, pepper, and rosemary. And we're going to take that, and I have melted in this pan a couple tablespoons of butter, and basically going to sear it on all sides, right? So that takes a few minutes to get it going, right? So we want to make sure our heat is on like medium, high. You want to get it quite hot, but you want to keep an eye on it, turning it often, right? Get all sides. You know, maybe just like 30, 40 seconds on each side, and just keep turning it until you get a nice brown, right? So like that. And you can see even the top with even just what, that was 30 seconds on that side, it really just starts caramelizing. So again, flour, a mixture of flour, salt, pepper, and rosemary. Then we're going to turn it again. And you can see, again, you'll start seeing that caramelizing going all the way around it. Then the recipe calls for onions, garlic, and apples. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see, now that I have it seared on all sides, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my onions and I'm going to just go around and put it